Hi, this is Reverend Joy, and with this message, I'd like to give more information about the era of Kali Yuga, especially for Christians. If you are not Hindu, you might not be familiar with that concept. But Kali Yuga is typically seen as the apocalypse, the end. That would be kind of an explanation that merges Christian and Hindu traditions. During the apocalypse, which if you're Christian, it would be Revelation in the New Testament. Avarice and wrath will be common. Humans will openly display animosity towards each other. They will find no hesitation in killing another person. Ignorance of religious justice will occur. People won't feel as if their sin could cost them anything, or they feel they've paid for their sin, so they're allowed to do whatever they want. I'll have this one twice. People will have thoughts of murder with no justification, and they won't find anything wrong in that. People won't see God's creation in every human being. The end will look like what we see today. Lust is socially acceptable, and sexual intercourse considered a central recreation of life. Casual sex is entertainment and not seen as something that might damage a soul. Sin will increase, while virtue will fade and cease to flourish. People become addicted to intoxicating drugs, intoxicating alcohol. People won't choose foods that keep them healthy. And you can guess that means they choose for convenient foods, fast food, no matter how bad it hurts the health. Spiritual teachers will no longer be respected, and their students will attempt to injure them. Spiritual teachers can be attacked randomly. Again, murders has very little justification. It doesn't mean it's okay. And that's sadness. Their teachings will be insulted, and the people that will lead will fall easily prey to the material world and will desire to control the mind and soul of all humanity. People won't listen to church leaders and the example of Jesus. So yes, that sounds exactly like the evening news in the newspaper. It's been more than 2 years and I can't watch more than 15 minutes. It's the book of Revelation, and it's happening right now, November 27th of 2018. What could this period? Well, first back to Revelation. For Christians, the end of Revelation coincides with the end of the era of Kali Yuga. For Christians, We don't really know God's plan beyond Revelation in the New Testament. Now, personally, I believe there's a reason why. I believe our current year, our current lives for all the humans on this planet is a test for humanity, just like we've seen so many other times in scriptures. So what could that test be? And I think it's as simple as, how well did we follow the examples, the teachings, the lessons that our last divine teacher gave us? How well did we obey Christ? Now, with that obedience, that doesn't mean someone who hasn't heard about Christ would disobey. It means, did they sin? Did they hurt other people on purpose? Did they want to do bad? Did they want to sin above all other things? Or did they choose to exercise agape and bring the unconditional love agape that Christ had for humanity to others that surround us? Now, I do want to say something. There is a misunderstanding for Christians about who Kali, that causes Kali Yuga, is. Hindus know that the Kali that causes the bad times of Kali Yuga is a male demon. A lot of the energies that cause Kali Yuga are from the willfulness and sinfulness of men. Sexuality, casual sex, it's not really what many women want, but again, there is no, there's not really blame to be placed. But in Kali Yuga, women, just like Eve in the Christian Bible, have been blamed for all the bad. So women and children suffer even when they're innocent and they haven't done anything wrong. The growth of patriarchal societies that smother matriarchal societies and replace native cultures in North America, India, Africa, South America, with much more rigid ways of thinking, has caused the imbalance that brings Kali Yuga to be a problem. Now, Goddess Kali in Hinduism is often blamed for causing Kali Yuga and suffering, because her whole story isn't really known to Christians or to most Americans. Although she is a dark goddess, unlike some of what we've been told, dark isn't necessarily bad. Her energy, well, she's painted as dark because her energy is much more raw and more like the beginning of time, I would feel. It's dark because it's the absence of everything else. Now, Goddess Kali, she is an aspect of the goddess Parvati. So if you're Christian, you may wonder exactly, how can that be? How can one goddess appear different ways. Well, let me explain. If Goddess Kali is Parvati, Goddess Parvati is seen as the ideal wife and mother. She is the source of unconditional love for her family and humanity. Consider now her divine husband, Lord Shiva. He is the warrior that helps keep evil and ignorance at bay. In Hindu stories, he's also told to have other lesser wives. And yes, if you watch Bollywood, you see sometimes he's tricked into having a child with a human. So imagine the power of Goddess Parvati to still have unconditional love as a chaste wife, to accept an unfaithful and sometimes unreasonably angry spouse. So, if Goddess Kali is the raw dark energy of Parvati, and yes, they're both what's called Shakti, divine feminine, which is yet another discussion. But let's stick with Kali. Goddess Kali is seen as a prompt for change. Now, if you imagine both as mothers, because they are, Goddess Kali is mother, Goddess Parvati is mother. Imagine Parvati as the child the mother sees. She is happy, she is always blessing, and she's in good mood. So it's easy to see Goddess Kali as the angry mother. So in the age of Kali Yuga, Goddess Kali is seen as a prompt for change. I feel as though the divine feminine would would be very angered, hearing the pained cry of children, innocent children, innocent women who suffer the most during the age of Kali Yuga. It is common in our world in 2018 for women, children, even less powerful men, gays, you get the picture, minorities, anyone who is not the majority in whatever country they live in may face randomly being raped, abused, tortured, killed, murdered, or they also add disabled. Sadly, disabled people are not allowed to have lives, full lives, show their potential, use their talents that God gave them. All those people are seen as thoroughbreds. So wouldn't the Creator have to picture God as being exactly what we have on earth, a mother and a father? Can you imagine the sorrow a mother would feel after she's carried a baby for 9 months? She's given birth to humanity, and they won't love each other. They won't protect each other. Her children squabble over the least of things. Fight, steal, sin, kill over nothing that really survives. Nothing in the material world is real. Nothing in the material world is meant to hurt. It's all meant to be positive experience, a chance for the soul to grow. So, how can Kali Yuga end? Well, if you know Kali Yuga to be by now, the age where the male demon Kali has controlled everything and caused great suffering everywhere in the world, could be as simple as the age of Kali Yuga ending with unconditional love expressed as agape. No limitations, there must be unconditional love. Kali Yuga has been such a great time of suffering, and suffering is really healed by love. I have a talk about unconditional love, that there's so many things that love can heal if it is in the right frame of mind. So if suffering is eased with compassion, genuine care, and affection, wouldn't God's ultimate test be, how well did we obey Christ's example? And yes, we can still follow Christ without knowing about Christ, because, for example, the 5 principles of Reiki. Did we work hard? Did we control our anger? Were we kind to others? Were we honest? Were we fair in our dealings? So in other words, did we sin? And yes, a good person wouldn't kill. So what could the end of Kali Yuga, the final end of humanity, be? Well, I wonder why the writers of the New Testament did not put it in the book. And I feel it could just be too scary. It's possible that they didn't know. It would be a choice. What would people choose to do in their heart? Would they choose to love, or would they choose to hate? How well if they obey God? So yes, it could be merciful. God could be merciful with us. It could be end fast and quick for all of humanity with, yes, a sudden destruction of the entire planet. But I don't think that would happen. But I also feel anything else, the end humanity, cause great suffering too. And I know that the God and Goddess that created us, Mother and Father, would not want humanity to suffer. We are here to express our love to God as love for each other, every human for every other human. Now, I talked about Lord Shiva earlier. There's a famous image of him called Shiva Nataraja, known as the Dance of Destruction. Now, in those paintings and those statues, he's shown as dancing on ignorance. Now, the things that I consider ignorance are the type of things that cause Demon Kali's influence in the world. And that's the sins related to ego, excessive ego. Yes, small ego is good, but if you have an excessive ego, you're going to sin in consequence. So the things that are good for the world, or anything that does not cause destruction to souls or spiritual life, families, especially, yes, nuclear families, but all families matter to our Creator. Virtues, those lost virtues that we don't see on the news anymore. No one talks about the good things or the good people. All those good things go unnoticed. So my wish for my sons to have a future is that all those virtues be developed, used, and unconditional love, something that happens more often. And that's all I have for you. It's Giving Tuesday, November 27th. So please donate to your favorite charity. Find one that does good while being on a modest budget. One where the largest percentage goes to help people in need. And that's all I have for you. With peace and love, this is Reverend Joy. Good night.